Hi all. So today we are going to do a demo of the Claude Code, which is the newest release from Claude, which is an agentic coding tool which runs on Claude 3.7 Sonnet as the base. So it claims to be a tool where you can code, debug, test, and even have GitHub integrations to check in the code. And so it's an all-in-all tool which would help the developer. So basically, it can do all of the things by itself. So they also claim that this is a right now uh, it's 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 a research preview. So that means like it is not the production version yet. So that means what they are saying is like you can expect some hallucinations there. So let's do a let's try it out and let's see it for ourselves. So what I have here is right. I mean, what you can see on the screen is actually a function calling example from OpenAI. So this is like what I meant. So what they are claiming is like Claude, right? Claude is an agentic tool. So like what do you mean by an agentic tool? So what I understand is like, I mean, there are so many descriptions over the internet, but what I understood is like an agentic tool is like an LLM which can do reasoning. So it will not fetch you the first result that it gets for your query, but it will do an iterative analysis of that result and whether that matches uh, whether that answer is correct and whether that matches the user's query, whether it matches the requirement of the user. So it thinks through it. It is like slow thinking kind of like so if you have worked with DeepSeek R1, right, you can see that thinking process. So that's what is meant by reasoning. And then it also has acting capability. So acting means like it can basically it has I mean it will have tools integrated and it can call those tools to perform some actions like book a ticket, train ticket, for example. So here, right, the example you see here is like an OpenAI's function calling example. So I have function calling is like you write some functions to do specific tasks like search the internet. So here it's an example of like getting the weather information. So whatever information the LLM is not trained on, you can write tools, and with the help of those tools, with that additional context, LLM can answer your questions, which is outside of their training data. So that is the idea. So this is an example of function calling that I copied from the OpenAI website. So what I'm going to do now is like I'm going to try run this code. So if you see the terminal here, I'm going to run this code. So yeah, so the query was like, what is the weather like in Paris today? And there is a get weather function which has latitude and longitude as the parameters. So even though we mentioned in the code like what is the weather in Paris today, in the tool section we have mentioned that this particular function needs latitude and longitude, and because of that the LLM knows that we should I mean it should convert the data, I mean like the city here to latitude and longitude so that it can get the data. So that part is taken by I mean that conversion is done by LLM itself. It knows what to do actually in this case. That is why when you write a tool, the description is very important. So the description properties and all those things are very important, so that like the LLM knows what to do. So the description itself is like a prompt for the LLM to know how to use the tool. So yeah, so let's try Claude now. Okay, I'm going to start Claude. I have installed Claude, so I'm going to start, I mean, Claude Code. I have installed it, so I'm going to start it. So the command in the terminal is Claude, so I'm going to start it. Yeah, so it started now. So first I'm going to ask it to analyze the code and describe what it does. Okay, it's gonna analyze the code and describe to me what it does. So it's going through the code now. And if you see here, right, this script demonstrates OpenAI's function calling. It creates a weather API function that fetches the temperature data using coordinates, defines this function as a tool in OpenAI API, asks about Paris weather, letting the model determine the coordinates, handles the functions call, all those. I mean, it has properly described what the code does. So now I'm going to assign it a task. So I'm going to ask it to create a Flask application with port 4200. The Flask application should be an AI agent named agent X, AI, not agent, sorry, chat bot named agent X, which responds to users generic queries as well as weather information using the tool provided. So I know it's a large prompt, but we should be as descriptive as possible so that it can come up with the code for what exactly we are expecting. I'm going to ask it also dockerize the application. Also dockerize the application. Okay, so let's see what happens here. So it takes usually like few seconds to one or 2 minutes to complete the task. So it is asking me, do you want to make this edit to app.py? So I'm going to tell yes, and don't ask again this session, otherwise there will be a lot of questions. So it has completed the task. So it is telling like set your OpenAPI key as an environment variable and build and run with Docker Compose. So it has completed the task. So let's see the app in action. So let's now see what the application looks like. Yeah. So this is the application. I can answer your any questions and provide weather information. How can I help you today? So I'm gonna ask a generic question first. What is quantum computing? Yes. So it got me the answer. I'm gonna ask it a weather question. What is the weather like in so that's my hometown. So in the first case, it got the answer from the training data, and then the second case, it used the tool and got the information. So it's working perfectly. So now let's see what changed in the code. So if you see here, right, this was the function that we created, the generic function, the OpenAI generic function, which gets, which does the function calling using a get weather tool. We had added the tool to the LLM, and using that tool, we would get the weather results. So that was a very basic function. So we asked it to create a Flask application on top of this, which gets the weather function as well as it answers. Like a Flask application, which is a chatbot named agentic, which answers the generic questions as well as it uses the tool for weather information. So if you see here, right, it has used the same tool that we provided, and also it has given the system prompt saying that like your agentic, it has given all the right prompts, it has called all the right functions, and it has created the Flask application. I asked it to change the port as well to 4200, so it has done that. So we have, it has done everything that we asked it to do. Also it has created a lot of files. So if you see here, right, in the template, it has that index.html file required for the UI. It has, I had asked it to dockerize it, so it has created the docker compose file, docker file. It has even created a readme file, so about what this application is and how to run that and all those things. So it's pretty good. It's working as expected. So I have been trying this Claude Code for the past 2 days, and what I can say is there are a lot. It is not perfect, so there is a lot of hallucinations even now. So it all depends on how good you write the prompt, how good you make it understand the requirements. Also, for the agentic workflows, right? There should be a proper feedback loop. So a positive feedback loop should be there. So otherwise, for example, right, you can ask it to write the unit test cases and execute it after each change, so that it knows whether like the recent changes it made, it works fine or not. So unless there is a positive reinforcement, the agent might not give you the proper result. So that is one thing that we should consider while using agents. So I hope you guys like this. So thank you.